Hey, what's going on, YouTube fam? So check this out. Today's video is really just going to be about me encouraging you all to run your own race. It's not going to be a long video, at least I hope not. Nor am I going to ramble on and kind of get off subject and go on this little tangent. I promise you, I'm going to do my best to not do that. Because I know that sometimes some people can get kind of lost in the details, and I'm just wanting to be as clear and as concise as I possibly can. Right? See, look at that. See, knowing your audience and tailoring your message to them. You know what I mean? They taught us that in our public speaking class. Even though sometimes it works, but sometimes just you don't necessarily want to apply. But anyways, see there, do you see how quick I was able to just kind of get off? Listen, you guys, I got a bunch of knowledge and so many thoughts that go through my head at one time, and I go down that little rabbit hole, and it's like, Dwight, stay on track. It's like, no, who let the nerd out? Anyways, get back in alignment, nerdy. Don't call me a nerd. But anyways, I like to bring the funnies, you guys. I love to make my videos be uplifting and kind of bring in some funny, you guys. I think that laughter is a very powerful feeling, tool, emotion, whatever you want to say. It's a good thing to have. I mean, it's uplifting, and I think that laughing is a good, especially when you're laughing for good, positive reasons, not laughing at someone else's expense, right? And you're laughing because you are all laughing together and laughing at the same thing. So, but anyways, I really just want to encourage you all to, it's been on my heart lately, to really just, and even in my own life, you have to run your own race. Because there are some things that I'm also working on behind the scenes, and it's not kind of taking off or kind of getting to where I wanted to be at right at this moment. It's growing and it's going, but I would like for it to be there already. I kind of want it to be further along, and it's just simply not there. And I have so many other great things that are blossoming, that are taking off, that are doing really, really good, right? And I don't want to focus too much on the things that I don't have. I want to focus on the things that I do have, and the accomplishments and the achievements that I have attained and obtained recently. And now, and it's just kind of like you don't want to focus too much on the negativity, and you don't want to get in the habit of comparing yourself to someone else. You know what I mean? Like comparing where you're at to where someone else is at, because you don't know how soon they got started. You don't know what that person went through. I mean, you simply don't know. And even if they started out at the same place as you did, at the same time as you did, and they made it to where they want to be at, or where you want to be at, and you're still kind of trying to get there, that does not mean that it's not going to happen for you. That does not mean that you are a failure. That does not mean that you're off track. That does not mean that, anything is wrong with your path or wrong with you. It just simply means that it's not your time, and that it will happen in your time. It will happen when it's your designated time, and it's divine timing. Most people who follow me believe in some type of divinity, right? They believe in the divine, whether they call them God, source, all-knowing universe, whatever the case may be, right? We already know what I call it. That's how it resonates with me. That's mine. It's God. So, but excuse me, it will happen in its divine time. And I know it's like, well, I've been busting my tail off, and they may have not even worked as hard as I've worked. Well, they probably don't even really deserve it, or they probably don't even really want it. And that's the main thing right there, is realizing that just because you want something does not mean that you're going to get it. And just because a person doesn't want something and they got it, that does not mean that it's not meant for them. Because let's be truthful, that they may not have wanted it, but they can manage it better, or they can handle it better than you can. Just because you want something does not mean that it's guaranteed that you should get it. You see what I mean? Because think about it. A lot of people, have you ever had a manager before that they really wanted the management position, but they sucked at it? They were just a very terrible manager. They were terrible at managing people and or managing personalities. They were just terrible at managing it, period. Or they could have been great with managing people, but they were terrible with managing the actual business itself. And it showed. And they would have been a good supervisor or a good team lead, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be a great manager. And though they may have wanted to be a great manager, they may have had some things that they would have needed to learn in order for them to become effective at their job. And that just may be where you're at. Just because the want is there, that does not necessarily mean that it needs to happen right now. Because let's be honest, if you are jealous and envious because someone else has gotten it and they may not have even wanted it, do you honestly think that's a great trait for you to be where you're trying to get to? Because what's going to happen if your competition is there and you become jealous and you become envious, and then in turn you become vengeful, and then you try to do things to knock this person off. You begin to do things and act accordingly to one that is vengeful and jealous and envious. And how do you think that's going to look to your divine, right? Or to your higher power? How do you think that that's going to look? Because you're not able to handle it. And it just may be some things that you really need to learn. And then you may have to be able to take the time and allow things to gestate, allow things to grow and develop. And there's nothing wrong with that. And just don't focus on that other person. And understand this, their path may be different than yours. There are several paths to be able to get to where you want to get to. Maybe the path that you're on is not the best path for you to take to get to your goal. Maybe you need to start considering looking at a different path to get to your goal. Now, of course, if your goal is a licensure or an exam that you have to take, that everyone has to take in order for you to be a registered nurse or doctor or CPA, whatever the case may be, accountant or lawyer, whatever the case may be, whatever it is, plumber, electrician. So whatever the case may be, journey, whatever it may be, if that's your ultimate goal, then of course you have to do the same thing that everybody else is doing, right? You have to pass that test. You got to go through these classes. You have to do what everybody else is doing. But let's just say your goal is a specific type of position, right? You want to be a CEO, or you want to be a manager, or you want to be a supervisor, or you want to be charge nurse, head, whatever the case may be. Or you're designing you want to be a journeyman, or you're designing a different type of position that requires a certain type of skill, trait, characteristics, or whatever you may have it. So the path to getting that experience, the path to getting there may not look the same for everybody, and that's okay. So you may have to find the best path that is right for you, and you have to be able to run your own race, not someone else's. And they may have been able to run. Maybe you may have to sprint a little. You may have to kind of do burst. You may have to walk. You may have to jog, but as long as you are getting to your goal, that's all that matters. So don't focus too much on what you don't have. Focus more on what you do have, which will allow that to grow and which will allow room for the things that you don't have to come into place, because you are thankful and you're grateful and you're mastering a level and you're happy where you're at and you're doing what you need to do. Therefore, your divine will say, okay, you know what? Let me increase them. Let me bring about more to them. And then you will be able to get to where you want to go to. But all great things take time, because they may be good now, but let's just say the next 20 years, they may be doing something completely different. This may be your lifelong passion. This may be your lifelong dream. This may be your full-on purpose. While this right here is just a season that they're going through. That's why they got it. Because at this time, it was right for them. Who's to say that in the coming years that they're still going to be in the same mindset, that it's still going to be right for them? They may have done it and moved on. While you, on the other hand, will still be reaping the benefits of it. You'll be growing and you'll be well known, because this is your purpose. This is what you were made to do. This is what you're here for. So it's a lot of stuff that comes into play when you're dealing with focusing and comparing, people's journeys compared to yours. You see what I'm saying? You may have decided to take the scenic route. They may have went straight full course ahead. So it's a lot of things, a lot of variables that go into play that you really just aren't privy to. So it's important to not focus on someone else and just really focus on you and run your race the best way that you can and get there in your own timing. So that's all I got. I told you all I was not going to make this video extremely long. So that's it. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace. Oh, and check out some of my other videos too, you all. Check out some of my angel number videos. Just kind of some of my other little self-development, whatever you want to call them videos. I call them spiritual enlightening videos. Spiritual enlightenment videos. That's what I call them. Peace.